What we're going to talk about in the next 20 minutes is a follow-through to what we've been talking about earlier today. We've been talking about digital disruption. We're talking about how the whole ecosystem is changing, where organizations, if they need to transform, they need to work with service providers, technology partners, consulting firms like ours to truly drive that shift. What's also changing is the way enterprises look at evaluating and selecting these partners. So we're going to talk about what we call the new rubric for partnering with technology providers in the digital age. So again, I'm stating the obvious. Organizations are on a very inevitable path to becoming digital enterprises. We've heard from a lot of the leading business and technology leaders today around why they're being driven towards this digital enterprise. What are the driving forces? How are they pulling it all together? However, to get there, they need the right technology and they need the right partners to implement those solutions. Now, if you look at how traditionally organizations have selected these partners, they've gone through the various quadrants and waves and so on and so forth to place providers in different areas. They've done the traditional sourcing process. But we believe, and we are seeing right in front of us, that these traditional vendor assessments, rankings, they're really not tuned to how organizations want to work in this digital age. They're really not aligned with the way you want to find these partners in the digital ecosystem. So based on all the experience we've had over the last many years, we've come up with a different approach to identify those truly innovative providers that not only have the right skills and the right digital platforms, but have a more holistic approach to pulling it all together on behalf of their clients. Again, this rubric here talks a little bit about, again, how the whole enterprise stack is shifting at the infrastructure layer, at the operations layer, at the customer engagement layer, and at the sourcing layer. So this is one of the ways we are seeing many of our clients drive digital transformation. What we're also seeing is service providers retooling their solution capabilities to align with this new multi-layered approach towards digital transformation. So again, what we're going to talk about today, and Akshay and Swapnil will lead into that, is this new approach towards assessing those service partners that have those right capabilities and are able to orchestrate them together. We are, of course, seeing that the technology landscape is getting more and more complex. And for buyers to zero in on the leading service providers, it's becoming a very difficult exercise. We hear of new technologies, new companies, new tools pop up almost every week. So when you're selecting a service provider, the question that enterprises are asking is, which of them offer converged platform-enabled services? It's no longer about ITO or BPO or ADM or all these different traditional silos. What are the differentiators that these providers bring to the table in terms of their transformation and solution capabilities? Again, the conversation is not about which location or which price, which kind of skill sets they bring. Another important element, which providers are investing in not only these digital technologies, but in building ecosystems. Blockchain is a great example, right? Where if you're going to be a leader in that area, you have to be part of some of these industry ecosystems to truly show that you can deliver to your clients' expectations. Which providers can innovate in terms of how they engage with their clients? and what kind of business model they're able to drive. We're seeing many transformational deals happening in the industry today, where providers are coming in and carving out a significant piece of their client's business, leveraging technology to run it faster, better, and with more innovation. And finally, which providers are truly coming in with that partner mindset? So we've combined many of these questions into our rubric, which Akshay is going to now lead into and talk a little bit about.
Thanks, Anupam. So to answer these questions for our customers, clients, and help them understand all of this activity that's going around, we've come up with this research rubric, essentially to help answer some of these questions, simplify the ecosystem. So the way to read this is, at the outermost circle are what we call as technology prerequisites. We've talked about a few of those today. These are technology building blocks such as blockchain, AI, analytics, IoT, and so on and so forth. In the inner circle, you see the traditional enterprise services that most of us are very familiar with. That's the world view that we've had for the longest time. The IT infrastructure, applications, product engineering, enterprise services, all of that. But then all of those, the technology prerequisites, along with our traditional enterprise services, need to come together to form the two digital building blocks, which are the digital experience, which is the entire gamut of services for how do you improve the customer experience, the end customer experience, as well as then the back-end digital operations. So how do you bring two or more, or one or more of these technology prerequisites? How does it get applied to our traditional silos, and then form the core of a digital enterprise? So we believe this, along with the view on looking at service providers, not just service providers, but also product and platform players, enables an organization to have a holistic view of who could be the right partners for me in this digital journey for me. So, and then this also gets, the another layer on top of this is the entire vertical layer, which is digital in banking financial services is going to be very different from insurance or from healthcare. So we do our research lens from all of these vertical lens, as well as the product platform services lens. And this provides, in our view, a very clear and simple view for enterprises to see which are the participants that they could be working with as they move on the digital journey. And of course, there is the geography lens to it. So what we did about 6-7 months back is we launched Radar View, which is our market assessment product. It looks at recognizing providers who've done activity, who've made tremendous investments, innovation in one or more of these technology prerequisites. So we've done several reports looking at investments that providers have made, thought leadership that they've done, and a variety of investments around client engagement, startup investments, and so on and so forth. And Swapnil, yeah.
So while we were deciding on the methodology and really building it out, there were two main areas that we really wanted to cover. I think one is that the measures and the metrics that we look at from a service provider perspective, they need to be really aligned to the new digital reality. And they should not really focus on things which are a little more traditional ways. So that was one aspect. The second aspect, and Anupam also alluded to it, is that we have experience with working with some of the most progressive clients that are there, who are really on the cutting edge of some of these new technologies and how they're coming together. So we really wanted to leverage our experience, get that buy-side inputs from our clients and the enterprises that we work with, and bring these two things together to really come up with a methodology which really throws up the right kind of partners, which features the right partners for the enterprises that we typically serve.
Yeah, and the attempt here with Radar View is really to progress the industry as a whole. Kevin's keynote talked about, how do we dare to dream? How do we look at, improving the thinking, not just at the individual level, at the enterprise level. So the attempt here with Radar View is it helps, of course, the enterprises, identify the right set of partners, see where the technology trends are moving, and that, are they in tune with, where they need to be. and essentially accelerate their sourcing processes, whether it's on sole source transactions that they're doing, so it gives them a fairly good validation very quickly on which are the right partners and players to work with, or if it's a traditional RFP approach, right? So enterprises gain a lot from the radar view assessments. On the service provider side, obviously, a big part of value is that as they are refining their go-to-market strategies, as they're refining their pitches and stories, this gives them a good validation on again, how the market is moving, how the market is viewing different providers, what's important to buyers, and that's big value for the service providers. And of course, similarly for product and platform players, how do they stay ahead on the innovation cycle? How do they keep incorporating what buyers are looking for? How do they incorporate feedback that's coming from them? So all of that, all of that goes back into the product development life cycle, product roadmaps, and so that they're able to stay ahead on the disruption. So again, the attempt to summarize is really, how do we move industry forward? How do we educate customers? How do we educate service providers, players, so that we all are making the journey towards a digital enterprise, a lot more smoother and a lot more faster.
Thank you. So, as Akshay mentioned, we've been working on this for the last 6-7 months, and one of the first things that we've started off is actually looking at the individual technology prerequisite areas and develop the radar view reports in all of these key areas. I think that's the first foundational element of moving towards a digital enterprise or being a service provider that can support the movement towards a digital enterprise. We've come up with five key areas. We started off with the blockchain services radar view, the intelligent automation radar view, then foundational element of hybrid enterprise cloud, and finally we've also very recently come out with the applied AI and advanced analytics radar view. Now the interesting thing here is that, and again going back to the rubric that we have, each of these technology prerequisite areas are really fundamental, but the real business value is when these come together through service providers or platforms, if they're able to bring these together to bring true business value. And which is why over in the next couple of weeks actually, we're going to be releasing the next sort of a special edition radar view, which is called the Digital Masters 2019. Now, this is a radar view which really looks at how, of course, the individual capabilities of service providers, amongst all these featured service providers in the tech prerequisite areas, but also how really they've been getting these things together, getting the hyper-convergence going for really great business value creation. So this is something that you will see in the next couple of weeks, so tune in for that.
One important differentiator I want to point out compared to many other ranking and other research reports that are out there is that this radar view is not just based on surveys and interviews. This is a combination of doing that along with practitioner and advisory insights we are getting through deals, through transformation engagements we're running with clients, and also combined with our industry point of view, what we're seeing across the industry in terms of digital trends. So we've combined all of that into the radar view, which really becomes a very, very important tool in the arsenal of enterprises that are looking to select providers, work with the right partners who can help them get through that journey.
Right. Also, going forward, 2019 is going to be a fairly exciting year for us on the research side as well. We're looking at all three dimensions, of course, the service providers themselves, but also the different tool providers, as well as the platform players. And we've got a few radar views listed down here. You can have a look at them. So it's a fairly comprehensive and interesting agenda coming up in 2019. If you have any questions or any clarifications, I'm going to be here outside on the Avasant booth. Happy to have any discussions around what we plan to do in the next year as well. So
Oh, and by the way, in case you haven't mentioned, all of these radar views are available for free
Yeah.
to
I
download.
haven't mentioned that.
Yeah.
We don't charge a penny. It's available on our website. We publish it through our network, through our newsletters when they are available. So this research is available to anybody, anytime for
Yeah.
free.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.